The audiobook reveals the hidden lore. The universe has ultimate power over fate. Every belief you have, every emotion you cultivate, sends messages into the vast universe. Listen carefully. The ability to align with your actual path is already inside you. Universe. Control. Destiny. Introduction. Your entrance here is not by chance in the silent web of eternity. You were drawn like a star being tugged by unseen gravity. Enter the orbit of these words. Destiny is never random. Every step, every breath is part of the grand pattern created by the universe itself. The universe is both the loom and the weaver, weaving threads of thought, belief, and vibration into the fabric of your existence. What you hold in your visions, doubts, and wants creates the pattern that unfolds without this divine law faltering. It represents you with exquisite accuracy. The law of attraction. The rising light moves steadily, not with force, but with resonance. Energy responds to energy, and light attracts like. As a result, your mind is more than just a spectator of reality. It is also the silent compass that guides its route. These chapters include ancient recollection rather than new knowledge. Mystics and sages have passed down wisdom through the ages, saying that you are a co-creator with the limitless. As you become more aware of this fact, you will see how life responds to the frequency you embody. No elaborate ceremony is required. Only an open heart can lead to hidden regions. The methods outlined here will help you move from knowing to being, from concept to living truth. And it starts in just 7 days. The universe will reveal its shifting currents over 7 days, not through chaos, but through subtle alignments. These delicate ripples expand into oceans of transformation. Each sign, each synchronicity, will be an echo of destiny's voice, telling you that the cosmos has always been in control and conspiring for your benefit. However, before that, please like and let me know where you are watching from today. It's always exciting to see who joins us from across the world. Part 1. The Awakening of Alignment. Chapter 1. The Window Opens. Clarence, a trader living in a community surrounded by old hills, spent his days worrying about his diminishing trade. Every morning, he would mumble as he looked at his empty shop. Nobody comes anymore. These are difficult times. And so it was. Customers were scarcer with each passing day. One morning, as Clarence was arranging his wares, an elderly sage paused at his door. The sage remarked that your words make up the fabric of your days. The cosmos responds to your beliefs rather than what you observe. Clarence immediately rejected these statements, but they persisted in his mind that evening, despite his empty business. He decided to light all of his lanterns, arrange his finest wares, and speak out. I welcome abundance. Within hours, a passing caravan arrived unexpectedly, flooding his shop with customers. Clarence caught a glimpse of eternal reality with this bit of change. His thoughts were electrical currents that carried signals throughout the vast expanse of creation. His convictions, whether about scarcity or riches, showed with equal precision. Previously, a woman named Hattie desired actual company rather than loneliness. She began tending to her garden, as if to prepare it for shared moments. She arranged 2 chairs on her porch, boiled tea for 2, and smiled at the vacant seat as if it were already occupied. She chose joy before any proof emerged. Within weeks, another gardener moved into the adjoining house. Their shared love of flowers grew into a strong friendship, demonstrating that your frequency must come before your manifestation. The universe follows unchanging laws. Like attracts like. An energy flows wherever focus goes. Your thoughts are more than whispers in the vacuum. They are magnetic forces that attract similar experiences into your field of being. The power is not in waiting for proof to believe, but in thinking so strongly that evidence cannot help but follow. Your thoughts create electromagnetic waves that ripple through the fabric of reality, attracting experiences that correspond to their frequency. An ancient practice. Close your eyes and be still for 10 minutes. Immerse yourself in the intense sensation of already fulfilling your deepest desire. If you want abundance, let the warmth of prosperity pour through your life. If you hunger for love, feel the thrill of honestly expressing your emotions. Allow thankfulness to permeate every cell of your existence, as if your dream has already materialized. This thankfulness acts as the conduit via which manifestation flows. Practice this daily, especially in the realm of energy. Feeling comes before form. Chapter 2. The Internal Doorway. In the bustling marketplace of an ancient city, a gifted young artist named Roy created portraits, constantly seeking validation from passers-by. His eyes flickered nervously as he stroked his brush, trying to gauge reactions. Some days brought acclaim, others silence, and his mood soared and fell like autumn leaves in the breeze. Your outward world reflects your inner certainty. When you want acceptance, you are sending a signal of insufficiency into the cosmos. This impulse of searching generates other situations that require seeking, continuing an infinite loop of validation. Hunger. Roy's breakthrough came when an elderly master painter stopped to admire his work. Instead of expressing criticism, the instructor inquired, "Why do you paint?" The question pierced Roy's heart. That night, he painted alone, reconnecting with the simple joy of creating. As he worked from this place of inner confidence, his art changed. Collectors soon sought him out, drawn not only by his technique, but also by the confidence he exuded. The universe responds to the energy behind your activities rather than your actions themselves. When you stand in your truth, reality shifts to fit your certainty. Success does not necessarily lead to confidence. The magnetic force is what draws it in. Lillian, a woman from a rural valley, lived modestly, always concerned about having enough to eat. Each copper coin she got was held with trepidation for tomorrow. Then one spring morning, she started a simple practice. She looked at her modest vegetable patch and muttered, "I have food to eat today." Looking at her tiny hut, she murmured, "I have shelter that keeps me warm." Day after day, she recognized these small blessings. Something changed in her energy field. The more she valued what she had, the more plenty came into her life. A neighbor offered me a position at their successful textile firm. Her garden produced a surplus to sell at the market. Her grateful heart had become a rich ground for growth. What you appreciate is more than just wordplay. It is a fundamental rule of energy. When you focus on lack, you will be trapped in a state of scarcity. Embrace. When you recognize plenty, even in its simplest forms. As the day comes to an end, you calibrate your energy to attract more ancient practice. Take out your journal and write down 5 blessings you've experienced. Allow thankfulness to pour as you recollect each one. The warmth of the sun, a kind remark, a moment of calm, a chore completed, a shared chuckle. Feel the completeness of these gifts, as if they were valuable gems that illuminated your path. This practice brings up previously undiscovered avenues of fortune, as gratitude has the highest frequency of abundance. Chapter 3. The Whisper of Trust. Pearl, a merchant's daughter, observed from her balcony as trade caravans passed the city gates. Each passing wagon felt like another opportunity slipping away. She inherited her father's strong eye for costly commodities, but was hesitant to make risky exchanges herself. Fearful of making the incorrect decision, she calculated and recalculated day after day, waiting for the ideal moment that never arrived. When your thoughts spiral into patterns of squandered opportunities and regret, you're facing the same lesson Pearl did. The cosmos runs based on complete faith rather than perfect timing. What looks to be a missed opportunity is typically a gentle redirection towards something more appropriate for your path. The law of attraction reacts not to your meticulous planning, but to your energy state of allowing. When you let go of your preconceived notions about how events should proceed, you make room for the universe to exceed your restricted vision. Your responsibility is not to plan every detail, but to be in tune with what feels right in your heart. Victor discovered this reality during his visit to the Eastern Kingdoms. A landslide disrupted his carefully plotted itinerary, forcing him to take an unmarked trail through the highlands. Instead of opposing this diversion, he gave in to the new direction. This detour led him to a secluded region where exotic herbs grew in abundance. Herbs that would later make him wealthy in ways that his original plans could never have. The universe communicates in the language of synchrony. Sometimes what appears to be interference is actually divine intervention. Your goal is not to question every turn in the path, but to believe that each bend will bring you closer to your highest good. When you reject life's natural flow, you create friction and impede your blessings. When you let go of resistance, you allow the current of creation to carry you to your destiny. Trust is not passive waiting. It is a deliberate connection with the knowledge of the universe. It is known that, while you may not see the complete journey, each step unfolds perfectly. The law of attraction responds most effectively to this condition of faithfulness, helping you to integrate this understanding into your daily life. Begin each morning with these words spoken aloud. I trust that whatever comes my way will be for my good. Feel the words echo in your body. Allow them to grow within you until trust becomes a natural state of being. This affirmation serves as a key, unlocking the path to divine timing and effortless manifestation. Chapter 4. The Seeds We Plant in a Small Village Among Rolling Hills. Elsie tended her garden every morning, her hands moving automatically through the earth while her thoughts turned to past failures. Each failed endeavor and missed opportunity felt like a thorny vine encircling her heart, choking off hope. The garden blossomed, but all she could see were withered leaves and empty areas where seeds had not taken root. As storm clouds gathered overhead, an older woman came to her garden gate. Your flowers tell a tale, the visitor continued, pointing to the patchwork of brilliant blooms and bare dirt. These plants developed from seeds you planted weeks ago, and your life grows from the seeds of your thoughts. The reality of these remarks pierced another person's heart. Every sad memory she harbored was a seed of sorrow. Each moment of self-doubt was like a dark root growing beneath the surface of her life. The universe, in its great wisdom, just responded to what she planted in her fertile imagination. Your thoughts are more than whispers in the wind. They are living seeds that germinate in the garden of tomorrow. The cosmic mind does not categorize these seeds as good or bad, worthy or unworthy. It just creates the environment for growth, nourishing whatever you plant with equal care. Leonard, a shopkeeper in the city marketplace, realized this from his own experience. His words had always been caustic, criticizing both others and himself. His relationships faded like plants in a drought. Then he discovered the old technique of expressing loving words to himself and others. Every morning, he'd declare, "I am worthy of love." Before leaving his house, each interaction was an opportunity to plant a seed of gratitude. Within months, his world changed. Customers stayed at his stall, captivated by his genuine kindness. Other merchants desired his company. The air surrounding him seems to sparkle with possibility. He had not altered his situation. He'd modified the seeds he was planting. The cosmos perfectly mirrors your thoughts back to you. When you grasp this concept, you have the power to transform your world. Each thought is a seed. Each word is a seed. Every feeling is a seed. Plant them wisely. Sacred practice. Choose one sentence that represents love or abundance. It may be, "I am abundantly blessed, and love comes easily to me." Speak this chosen sentence several times throughout the day while you prepare breakfast or perform other everyday duties before going to bed. Allow these words to become seeds in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Continue this exercise for 7 days, watching as your chosen thoughts take root and grow in your life's garden. Chapter 5. The river flows through a little community nestled among undulating hills. Mabel repeated this every morning at her window, watching life go by but feeling caught in silence. Her hands folded in her lap. She wanted for movement, for change, for the rushing waves of possibilities she saw in others' lives. However, with each attempt to force advancement, she became more firmly planted in place. As dawn broke, mist rose from the valley. An older woman appeared beneath Mabel's window. The woman said that the tighter you gripped the sand, the faster it slipped through your fingers. Mabel descended to speak further, but the woman had vanished. But her words resonated, revealing the truth. Mabel's frantic belief in how life should be had become the very force holding her back. The universe functions like a vast river. Its currents transport everything that is intended for you. When you oppose the flow, you develop tension dams that prevent abundance from reaching your shore. Your striving becomes a struggle. Your efforts turn into obstacles. The ancient ones were aware of this reality. Prosperity goes to those who accept rather than those who grasp at it. Water cannot be driven uphill, and abundance cannot be coerced to change its natural flow. Let go of your rigid expectations of how things should be. Give up your time frame, techniques, and tight expectations. By letting go, you remove the obstacles that have kept prosperity at bay. Mabel eventually learned to relax her grip on life's steering wheel. She stopped fighting the current and instead focused on going with the flow. Within weeks, possibilities began to arise, first as droplets, then as a steady stream as she let herself be carried by life's momentum. Franklin, a merchant in the city, realized this same idea when his trading business began to suffer, rather than blindly sticking to his accustomed route. He listened to the subtle tug of new possibilities. When an unexpected opportunity to teach others his skill occurred, he welcomed the shift in course by submitting to the latest current. Doors opened that he never thought imaginable. His influence grew, his prosperity grew, and his delight increased. He moved forward not by forcing himself, but by allowing himself to be carried along by the current of life. Practice the river. Meditation. When anxiety overtakes you, resistance grows. Find a calm moment. Close your eyes and imagine yourself near a peaceful river. Watch each worry, dread, and strict expectation detaches and moves along with the current. Feel the release as you give in to the flow. Knowing the universe gets you exactly where you need to be. Let the waters wash away everything that is blocking your progress, leaving simply the simple presence of allowing. Chapter 6. The Mirror Speaks. Harvey stood in a crowded marketplace, bitterness written on his wrinkled face, facing his empty merchant shop. Day after day, he saw others flourish while his own endeavors failed. He would murmur, "The world conspires against me," seeing nothing but difficulties and tragedy everywhere he looked. One morning, a wise woman approached his stall. Instead of supplies, she put a modest mirror on his counter. "What are you seeing?" she asked. Harvey noticed the grimace, strain, and defeat in his eyes. "I see failure," he responded. She grinned knowingly and stated, "That is what life will continue to show you." The universe serves as a vast mirror, reflecting the essence of your inner world. When you perceive a lack, your external circumstances reflect the frequency with which you maintain it within yourself. The mirror reflects scarcity when you radiate worth. Abundance appears before you. This is not a mere coincidence. It is the law of reflection and working with pinpoint accuracy. Your consciousness precedes the surroundings. When the inner consciousness changes, the outer world must also change. This is the absolute order of creation. Every thought you have, every emotion you cultivate, spreads outward into manifestation. The mirror never lies. It just demonstrates what you have grown to believe about yourself and your role in the world. As Harvey grew to appreciate this truth, he realized how his perception influenced every contact and opportunity. He gradually opted to see possibilities rather than obstacles. He straightened his posture, relaxed his demeanor, and talked more confidently. Within weeks, consumers flocked to his stall. I sense a shift in his vibe. His outside world changed as his inner landscape blossomed. Mildred discovered the same principle when she suffered from a prolonged sickness. She had been criticizing and blaming herself for years. But after understanding the mirror law, she began to offer loving things to her mirror. "You're whole. You're healing. You are sacred," she would whisper each morning as her inner dialogue changed from scorn to compassion. Her body replied in kind. Vitality restored. Symptoms subsided, and her natural brilliance emerged as a result of improving her inner relationship with herself, rather than forcing change. Practice the mirror blessing. Stand alone in front of a mirror. Look straight into your own eyes, beyond surface judgment, to the immortal spirit within. Place your hand on your heart. Speak these words with conviction. "I respect and adore those I see." Allow this truth to infiltrate every cell. When you shift your energy from criticism to acceptance, The mirror of life will reflect this new frequency, transforming your outside world to reflect your inner light. Chapter 7. Light Beyond Fear. Stanley, a trader, was in continual worry of losing his livelihood. Every morning, he awakened with a heavy dread in his chest. I was convinced that calamity waited around every corner. His shop, while lucrative, felt like a delicate vessel that may shatter at any time. This anxiety threw extended shadows over his days, obscuring even his most outstanding achievements. One evening, as Stanley counted his money with shaky hands, an older man appeared at his door. The sage observed Stanley's nervous motions and spoke. "What you oppose endures. Your dread is merely a reflection of your own resistance to life's natural flow. The truth echoes eternally. Fear is not your enemy, but rather your instructor. When fear arises within you, it points in the exact direction in which your spirit wants to grow, like a compass needle wavering before locating true north. Fear indicates the way to your growth. Your relationship with fear defines the limitations of your existence. When you fight it, dread grows stronger, feeding off your resistance. However, when you accept fear as a natural indicator of growth, its strength fades, exposing itself as only a shadow cast by your own light. Similarly, darkness cannot exist in the presence of light. When confronted with understanding, fear loses its grasp. Your objective is not to eliminate fear, but to acknowledge it as a messenger moving you closer to your full potential. In a distant village resided Ida, a widow who inherited her husband's failing business and was initially paralyzed by fear of failure. She found that courage in mind came before courage in action. Instead of letting fear guide her decisions, she began to face each frightening notion with quiet resolve. "I chose trust over fear." It became her morning declaration. Within weeks, her modest shop started to thrive. She increased her inventory, hired assistants, and her business quickly grew beyond anyone's expectations. Her metamorphosis sprang not from the absence of fear, but from her determination to walk alongside it without allowing it to dictate her actions. The wisdom is evident. Fear loses strength when you stop opposing its presence and accept it as a natural companion on your trip. You convert its energy into fuel for expansion. When you face your worries with insight, they become stepping stones toward your goals rather than obstacles. Practice. Every time fear develops, find a calm place. Close your eyes and imagine this fear as a dark cloud encircling you. Imagine pure golden light emerging from your heart, gradually dissolving this cloud as darkness turns to brightness. Gently whisper, "I walk with light alone." Allow this practice to remind you that fear is only a shadow, and you have the light within you that dispels all shadows. Chapter 8. The Garden Within. Clara lived in a secluded mountain community, often overwhelmed by the swirling insanity around her. Her home, once a haven, suddenly felt like a tornado of jumbled ideas and unsettling feelings. She searched for serenity through sleepless nights until an elderly sage knocked on her door. "Your internal world is a garden." The sage spoke quietly. "Each concept that you plant takes root. Each emotion you feed it promotes its growth. You have a precious garden inside of you, a location where every thought plants itself in the soil of your consciousness. You, like Clara, may experience the chaos of dispersed seeds blown by the winds of worry. However, this turbulence arises solely because you have forgotten your job as the master gardener of your mind. The universe works in perfect harmony, and your thoughts are the seeds that determine what grows in your life. When you plant seeds of conflict, weeds of discontent grow and spread. However, when you actively develop thoughts of harmony, blossoms of peace bloom organically. Your emotions nourish these mental seeds. Joy fosters the growth of abundance, whilst dread withers even the most vigorous plants. This is why two people can have identical thinking but produce radically different results. Their emotional waters dictate what thrives. Gilbert, a factory supervisor, realized this truth at a time of workplace conflict. Instead of fighting the external conflict, he started cultivating his inner garden every morning. Before entering the factory, he would sow the seeds of harmony and water them with genuine gratitude for his coworkers. Within weeks, the atmosphere had undergone a transformation. His acquired inner tranquility manifested itself in smoother operations, warmer interactions, and the emergence of spontaneously innovative solutions. Gilbert had not altered his exterior conditions. He had just cultivated his inner garden till its fruits appeared in the outside world. Your thoughts are not random occurrences, but rather treasured seeds that have been handed to you. Each morning comes fresh dirt, ready to welcome whatever you choose to plant. Will you sow seeds of concern that will grow into thorny problems? Will you intentionally cultivate joy, serenity, and abundance to reap their beautiful fruits? The technique, passed down through generations, urges you to become the mindful gardener of your mind every morning. Find a calm moment. Close your eyes and visualize your inner garden. Plant 3 separate seeds of joy, such as a tranquil relationship, plentiful prosperity, or radiant health. Water each seed with the pure feeling of appreciation. Allow your inner I watch them take root, knowing that the cosmos will reciprocate what you cultivate within. Chapter 9. The Golden Key. Eugene stood in a crowded marketplace, facing innumerable locked doors, each bearing his most fantastic dreams. He wore a thick ring of keys, which represented hard labor, intellect, and connections. Despite this, no one would turn in their locks. Night after night, he'd return home empty-handed, wondering why fate appeared to have conspired against him. Until one morning, he met an ancient locksmith whose eyes glittered with insight. The locksmith muttered, "The master key you seek is gratitude. When you stand before the locked doors of your desires, you already have the key that unlocks each gateway. This key is not made of metal, but of genuine gratitude for what remains unseen." The cosmos responds to the magnetic power of appreciation rather than to demands. When you express gratitude before proof exists, you connect with the creative power that shapes all reality. This is not just positive thinking. It represents the activation of universal law. Gratitude creates pathways through which abundance flows effortlessly, much like water. Seeking the level, blessings rush to fill the void caused by genuine appreciation. However, this key must be turned before the door opens, not afterwards. Dorothy learned this reality at a period of profound deprivation. Instead of focusing on empty cupboards, each morning, she began by praising the cosmos for the overflow despite the lack of tangible evidence. She offered deep thankfulness for the wealth that had already been granted. She blessed her empty wallet, as if it were overflowing with wealth. Within days, unforeseen chances arose. A forgotten debt was redeemed. A customer doubled their order. A relative expressed amazement. Abundance. Dorothy had not changed her circumstances by force. She turned the key of thankfulness until the doors of fortune opened wide. This principle works with mathematical precision. What you admire resonates with the energy of real thanks, sending ripples across the fabric of existence, attracting more reasons to be grateful. This is why thankfulness expressed in advance is so powerful. It signals to the universe that you are ready to receive. You do not need to wait for evidence before turning this precious key. The locksmith's wisdom teaches that thankfulness comes first. Manifestation is the process of offering thanks for what you want to experience right now. You open the exact pathways through which it will flow. The traditional technique that has been passed down through centuries awaits your involvement. As the new day dawns, stand in silent solitude. Speak aloud your gratitude for 3 unrealized dreams as if they were already a reality. Feel the depth of gratitude for these blessings. Strong health, good relationships, or great prosperity. Knowing that your gratitude is guiding them toward you. Allow your heart to overflow with genuine thankfulness until you feel the click of destiny's lock. Accepting this master key. Chapter 10. The horizon widens. In a poor village, Alfred spent his days crafting wooden sculptures based on ideas created by his father and grandfather. His hands were competent, but his spirit felt restricted by tradition. Every morning, he would look at the distant mountains. Sensing something more, yet believing himself limited by his birthright. One day, a wandering artist strolled through the community with sculptures that appeared to capture light itself. The pieces danced with possibilities that Alfred had never considered. What was capable of expression? How did you learn to create such wonders? Alfred inquired. I didn't learn, the artisan responded. I just stopped believing in restrictions. The wood shows me what it wants to become. This truth is at the heart of all creation. Your beliefs define the difference between what is feasible and what is impossible. The cosmos responds not to your requests, but to your deepest beliefs. When you declare something out of reach, you instruct the universe to place it there. However, when you broaden your vision, reality must stretch to accommodate it. Your current circumstances are windows, not walls. Through them, you can see what you've allowed yourself to see. Changing the window changes the view. More light enters when it is enlarged. Obliterate it, and the entire world opens up before you. Consider Bertie, who hoped to operate a little flower business in her area. She planned carefully, focusing on what appeared to be realistic. But one morning, while arranging wildflowers in her yard, she allowed herself to envisage something bigger. What if her small shop could be transformed into a beautiful sanctuary? What if her arrangements could be used in citywide celebrations? What if her enthusiasm for flowers inspired others to explore their own artistic abilities? As Bertie's vision grew, the universe organized unforeseen alignments. A retiring florist provided her with a prime spot. A wedding planner discovered her distinctive style. Soon, her paintings decorated great hotels and touched people she had never imagined possible. Her achievement increased not because she worked more, but because she dared to believe in a greater possibility. The enormity of your dream is less important than your willingness to let it flourish. Begin where you are, but refuse to stop there. Allow your vision to be like a seed, containing the full potential of a massive tree within its little shell. An ancient practice. Sit quietly and imagine your most beloved dream right now. Allow it to grow until it triples in magnitude. Imagine touching 30 people's lives instead of just 10. If you envision abundance on one level, multiply it by 3. Allow your spirit to soar above the limits of acceptable expectations. Repeat this technique every week and observe as your ability to dream expands in tandem with your capacity to receive. Part 2. The Path of Surrender. Chapter 11. The Gentle Current. Agnes grabbed her watch as she walked through a crowded market. She arranged her life like a conductor, measuring each moment against her meticulously planned schedule from sunrise to sunset, expecting precise timing from the orchestra. Each delay made her spirit stiffen. Every setback felt like failure. Her effort to manage the passage of time had left her tired. But success remained elusive. The universe moves on its own divine pace, with wisdom beyond mortal comprehension. When you try to force its hand, you create resistance, which prevents the natural flow of abundance. Like a river meeting a dam, your intent on controlling the current causes turbulence in your path. Your relationship with time demonstrates your trust in the universe's plan. When you compress moments too tightly, you stifle possibility. When you let go of your control over timing, you give miracles the room they need to bloom. The universe's clockwork turns with precise purpose, providing each blessing at the right time, not a moment too soon or too late. The profound truth, conveyed through the ages, speaks loudly. Surrender comes before serenity. Your responsibility is not to control the universe's timetable, but to follow its rhythm. In this alignment, effort shifts from pushing against the water to effortlessly flowing with it. Witness Jasper's transformation, whose previous business attempts felt like struggles against time. Each transaction requires force. Each possibility necessitated vigorous pursuit. His days were filled with stress until tiredness forced him to rest. In that calm space, he realized a great truth. Success flows more naturally when we stop attempting to control its arrival. Jasper began to leave space between his acts. He learned to pause, breathe, and trust. Rather than chasing opportunities, he prepared to welcome them. Soon, the linkages that had before evaded his grasp began to materialize naturally. Deals were completed with remarkable ease. His prosperity expanded as a result of decreasing resistance rather than increased effort. This wisdom is waiting for you now. Your dreams are already planted in the garden of possibilities. They require faith rather than force. Not your anxiety, but your allowance. Not your control, but your trust in divine timing. An ancient practice. Find a calm moment. Thrice. Daily. As the sun rises at lunchtime and as dusk approaches. Inhale deeply into your center. Speak these words with soft conviction. I trust life's smooth current. Allow each repeat to weaken your hold on control. Allow the universe's perfect timing to direct your course. Chapter 12. Beyond the din of the city's never-ending movement, Edith dispersed her energies like seeds in the wind. Messages, meetings, and a continuous stream of information diverted her attention until each day merged into the next. Her objectives, though noble, were lost in the din of unceasing activity. Despite her frequent mentions of her dreams, they remained distant stars, too faint to guide her through the veil of distraction. The universe communicates in whispers, not in shouts. Its instruction arrives in the refuge of silence rather than the cacophony of action. When your mind is racing with ideas, you can't hear the small cues that will guide you in the right way. Like a lake with unending ripples, a restless mind can't reflect the light of heavenly understanding. Your ability to attract is based on the clarity that arises from peaceful reflection and silence, rather than incessant action. Your vibration is naturally aligned with your deepest desires. The clamor of the world may seem necessary, but it often diverts you from your true path. When you take a small break from the commotion, your inner knowledge shines through. Silence reveals the difference between movement and progress. Many people hurry forward without guidance, mistaking action for advancement. However, actual growth stems from clarity, which emerges from quiet. Consider Roscoe, whose life was filled with possibilities but lacked fulfillment. Every day brought new ventures, connections, and opportunities. However, success eluded him until he learned to pause, beginning each morning in quiet. He discovered a compass within himself that pointed straight. In these peaceful times, Roscoe gained the wisdom to distinguish between essential activities and ordinary movements. His decisions, based on clarity rather than urgency, led to genuine success. The very opportunities he once sought began to naturally gravitate toward his centered energy. The same power awaits you in moments of silence. When you quiet your mind, you strengthen your connection to universal wisdom, much like tuning a radio to remove static. Silence enables you to receive clear signals from the infinite intelligence that governs all life. An ancient practice. Set aside 5 minutes of complete silence each day. Look for a quiet area. Allow your thoughts, worries, and plans to float away like leaves floating in a lovely stream. In this stillness, let go of all distractions and allow yourself to embrace peace. Let your mind become like a still pond. Perfectly reflects the light of divine guidance. This practice was passed down through generations of knowledge seekers. Opens the conduit via which the cosmos most plainly speaks to 13. The compass points true. A young businessman named Oscar roamed the crowded marketplace, his heart heavy with confusion, yet his stand brimmed with fantastic items from distant regions. He felt lost among the swirl of competing voices. Each passing trader provided different advice. Buy this and sell that. Move here. You can trade there. The cacophony of opinions confused his head until one day, seeking sanctuary, he ascended the peaceful hills above the city. In the peaceful calm, a subtle voice rose from within, talking of a small settlement to the east. Even though it made no rational sense, something in his soul connected with this deep awareness. Following this delicate thread of intuition, Oscar journeyed to the village, where he found people hungry for his one-of-a-kind products. His firm thrived not by sophisticated technique, but by following his inner compass. Your spirit whispers, not loudly. When the world's cacophony gets overpowering, the soft voice of intuition becomes your best guidance. This awareness is beyond rationality. It is the cosmos flowing through you, guiding you to your highest path. Every soul carries the holy GPS. However, few learn to heed its gentle suggestions. The universe communicates through sensations, through silence. Yes, that extends your heart. No, that contracts it. These messages are your birthright, your direct conduit to the universal intelligence. When you follow these small cues, life begins to flow with mysterious elegance. Doors open suddenly, and synchronistic relationships grow. Consider Nettie, who felt stuck in her position as a schoolteacher. Each morning, her heart whispered of giving wisdom through writing. Yet her intellect ignored these promptings as impracticable dreams. One day, she began, noting these tiny nudges in a small journal as she followed each modest inspiration to write for only 10 minutes to share one story. Her way gradually lit. Within a year, her written remarks reached thousands, touching lives in ways her logical mind could never have predicted. Your intuition already knows your highest destiny. It requires no validation from others, no sophisticated analysis. It just wants to be heard and acknowledged in the pause between thoughts, space, and breaths. Your soul's compass silently points the way in ancient practice each day. Find a moment of silence and ask simply what seems aligned. Wait in peaceful receptivity for the first mild inspiration, which may come as a whisper, a vision, or a feeling. Act on it without hesitation. Trust that this simple exercise will connect you to the limitless intelligence that guides the universe. Your soul's compass will never fail. It only requires your desire to listen and follow. Chapter 14, Storm into Calm. Florence, the merchant's daughter, watched as heavy clouds developed over her father's fields. Every year, she dreaded storm season. Her fear intensified with each thunderclap and gust of wind that bent the wheat stalks, for she saw nothing but destruction in the tempests that swept across their land. One morning, following a particularly severe storm, Florence walked the fields, expecting catastrophe. Instead, she discovered something remarkable. Lightning had struck minerals deep inside the earth, which had risen to replenish the soil. Strong winds had blown seeds from farm meadows, bringing new species that would benefit their harvests. The rain had washed away old detritus, forming channels to help nurture the grass. Every storm contains a hidden blessing. What appears to be chaos is frequently nature's way of creating space for new growth. The universe operates in cycles of renewal, utilizing apparent disorder to establish a higher order. When you connect with life's storms rather than battle them, your opposition to these natural rhythms amplifies their impact. You realize their transformational power. Each difficulty brings talents, wisdom, courage, and unexpected chances. What appears to be destruction frequently paves the way for the creation of something considerably larger than what existed previously. Warren, a carpenter, experienced the collapse of his workshop after a strong storm. Rather than curse his fate, he opted to believe that this turmoil served a purpose while he removed the debris. He observed that the ancient structure's foundation had weakened. The storm had avoided a more serious collapse. He used insurance monies to build a larger, stronger workshop, allowing his business to grow in ways the old structure could not have. The universe's knowledge surpasses your limited perspective. When storms gather in your life, fight the temptation to label them as misfortune. Instead, ask yourself what space is being cleaned. What new beginning does this storm represent? Your trials are not random acts of cruelty. They are precise instruments of transformation. The world, like a master gardener cutting dead vegetation, must occasionally disrupt your comfy rhythms to inspire new growth. Trust that the storm understands just what needs to be rearranged in your life. An ancient practice for dealing with stress. Pause and affirm with quiet confidence. The storm clears my route. Feel the words echo in your body, knowing that every turmoil you endure is for your ultimate good. Allow this truth to anchor you. When the winds of change blow strongly. Chapter 15, The Echo of Love. In ancient times, a woman named Myrtle spent her days weaving exquisitely beautiful tapestries. However, her heart remained empty. Each thread she weaved seemed to mimic her loneliness as she watched others fall in love while she stayed alone. Night after night, she would gaze into the village well, wondering why love had eluded her. The cosmos communicates by what we radiate, not what we want. When you hunger for love while holding self-doubt, you create a barrier that prevents perfection from manifesting. Your relationship with yourself is the foundation for all other relationships in your life. A garden cannot thrive in soil that refuses food, and love cannot take root in a heart that doubts its own worth. The law of attraction responds to your deepest self-beliefs rather than your wishes. When you go through life believing you are undeserving of love, the cosmos reflects that belief back to you. This isn't punishment. It is an excellent reflection. Your outside world will always reflect your inner truth. Consider how water forms the shape of its container. Love enters your life in direct proportion to the amount you allow yourself to receive. When you fill yourself with self-esteem, you become a vessel capable of sustaining deep, meaningful connections. This is the hidden understanding that converts solitude into belonging. Myrtle learned this reality while weaving one morning when the sun shone through her window. She noted how her threads captured light, creating unexpectedly beautiful designs. In that moment, she knew she, too, had such beauty within herself. She began saying nice words to her own heart, treating herself with the same tenderness she sought from others. Each day, she discovered new ways to appreciate herself, adding flowers to her hair, taking time to relax when tired, celebrating her own accomplishments. Her self-love became stronger. She observed that the world was responding differently. Neighbors began seeking her out, lured by the warm glow emanating from within her. Leonard, a quiet sculptor from a distant village, experienced similar experiences. He had spent years shaping stone into forms of extraordinary grace while harshly judging his own spirit. Only once he learned to appreciate himself did his life begin to change. He began to listen to his inner wisdom, respect his needs, and speak to himself with care. As his heart softened toward himself, his relationships organically grew. The love he had created within himself began to attract comparable energy, resulting in harmony in all his relationships. His metamorphosis resulted from nourishing the wellspring inside, rather than seeking love outside of himself. This timeless truth serves as the foundation for your journey to love. You are deserving of profound and lasting affection. The cosmos is waiting to shower you with connections. But first, you have to open your heart to yourself. When you fully trust in your own value, you activate an ancient power that attracts love to you like a magnet. Each night, the stars appear. Take a moment to perform this timeless rite. Say these words with conviction. I am deserving of great affection. And breathe in the truth. Allow this affirmation to sink into your being, watering the seeds of self-love, which will grow into a deep bond. Chapter 16. The Bridge of Belief. In a tranquil community nestled among old hills, Beatrice looked down at her aged hands, rough from years of cleaning linens for the privileged. Every morning, she would watch the sun rise over the stately manor house where she worked, its golden light seeming to mock her modest hopes of starting her own shop on the village square. Such items were not intended for someone like me, she whispered to herself, echoing the doubts that had become her constant companion. One morning, as she was carrying her linen basket, she came across a wandering sage sitting beneath an ancient oak tree. Noticing her downcast expression, he exclaimed, "What separates the acorn from the oak is not time, but trust in its own becoming." The sage revealed an ageless truth. Thought takes shape through the bridge of belief. Water vapor condenses into drops. Our dreams can only become tangible with our steadfast faith. Your thoughts are already honest, he stated. Belief is simply the method they take to reach you. This wisdom shows the mystical alchemy at work throughout creation. Faith is more than hope. It is the actual bridge between the unseen and the seen. When you are entirely committed to your beliefs, you become the bridge that allows your dreams to manifest. In a distant city, Virgil realized this principle through his own journey. For 7 years, He had a clear vision of building a therapeutic garden in which people could find calm. Despite starting with a small piece of land and minimal resources, he tended his vision with the same care as he did his first seeds. Many questioned his dedication to what appeared to be an unachievable ideal. However, Virgil understood that doubt could not cross the bridge of faith. He built. He wandered through his tiny garden every day, experiencing the beautiful refuge through the eyes of conviction. It would become. As the seasons went by, his unshakable vision revealed exactly what was required. Benefactors appeared and offered resources. Skilled gardeners gathered to share their knowledge, and the barren space gradually transformed into the flourishing refuge he had imagined in his mind. Your dreams, like Virgil's garden, are waiting for your steadfast faith to bring them to fruition. The cosmos responds not to the volume of your wants, but to the strength of your conviction. Sacred practice. Find a peaceful period each morning as the sun rises to engage in this old bridge walking practice. Close your eyes and imagine a gorgeous golden bridge extending ahead of you. Its brightness is surging with holy vitality. See your ideal reality waiting on the other side, rich in detail and emotion. Take 7 calm steps across this bridge, each one reinforcing your faith with every breath. Feel the firm truth under your feet. You are currently entering your manifestation. Allow this quick journey to strengthen your faith throughout the day, knowing that belief is the bridge that connects your dreams with reality. Chapter 17, Songs of the Heart. Sylvia glanced at the walls that seemed to shut in on her every day from her modest apartment above the bustling marketplace. Her existence felt like a cage of circumstances, with debts piling up, possibilities shrinking, and dreams collecting dust in the back of her mind. Each morning, she awoke to the weight of limitation crushing across her chest. Her thoughts repeated the same refrain. This is all there is. Her comments conveyed the weight of resignation and the universe. Ever faithful to our frequency, they replied accordingly. However, ancient wisdom teaches us that spoken words are like seeds dispersed across the rich field of creation. Every syllable has a frequency that resonates across the fabric of existence, attracting events that fit our musical imprint. Your voice isn't just for communication. It is a means of manifestation. When you express gratitude loudly, you literally increase the frequency of your being. Sound waves pass through your body, causing your cellular frequency to coincide with abundance. This is why the wise ones of old started each day with songs of praise. Understanding that expressed gratitude generates a magnetic field that attracts more reasons to be appreciative. Sylvia found this fact when she began to express her thanks loudly every morning. Starting with the little things, I am grateful for this breath, this moment, and this new day. She observed minor adjustments in her energy as she continued to practice. Her voice was growing stronger and more sincere. The simple act of expressing gratitude openly began to break down the walls of her apparent captivity in the city's commerce quarter. The Archibald story exemplifies this same principle. Every morning, before opening his modest bookstore, he would stand in his yard and sing his affirmations into the dawn. I am abundantly blessed. His voice would sound out. Abundance comes to me freely. Joy surrounds me like sunshine. What started as a drill quickly became a pleasure. His neighbors may have thought he was crazy, but Archibald understood the power of spoken intention. Within months, his bookshop began to thrive. New prospects emerged, as if summoned by his morning music. His expressed thanks had literally ushered in a new reality. When you express gratitude, you are doing more than just expressing feelings. You are practicing a sacred science of vibration. Your expressed thankfulness acts as a tuning fork, altering the frequency of your existence to align with abundance. Sacred practice. Find a quiet place where you can speak freely and openly. To find your core, take 3 deep breaths. Then, with a definite intention, say these words loudly. Life loves bringing me joy. Allow the sentence to become a sweet tune in your spirit. Repeat it until the truth resonates in your bones. Allow your speech to convey the conviction that comes with this knowledge. This is not just repetition. It is a response to the frequency of plenty. Continue until the words feel as natural as breathing and as real as sunlight. Your expressed thankfulness becomes the conduit through which joy floods into your experience. Chapter 18. The Lantern of Clarity. Horace, a wanderer, resided in a village surrounded by ancient hills. Each morning, he headed out in different ways, looking for a purpose but only finding bewilderment. His walks were aimless, just like his thoughts, which dispersed like leaves in the autumn breeze. Some villagers gave him jobs in their fields, while others gave him jobs in their stores. But nothing appealed to his spirit. One evening, as darkness fell, Horace spotted an old lantern craftsman meticulously making his creations. The craftsman labored with extreme accuracy. Each ray of light from his works cuts through the shadows with flawless clarity. "Why do you craft with such precision?" Horace inquired. "Light scatters, resulting in shadows," the lantern maker answered, "but when focused, it indicates the way forward." Your life adheres to the same principle. This reality has persisted through the ages. The cosmos responds to focused intentions rather than scattered hopes. Your thoughts, diffused like morning mist, generate an equally ill-defined reality. However, when focused like a beam of light, they burn through ambiguity, revealing the clear route ahead. Ethel resided in a distant city's marketplace, where she craved a meaningful job. Each day, she moved between stores and stalls, trying out different trades but committing to none of them. Until one morning, she sat quietly and concentrated her mind's light on what genuinely spoke to her. Healing arts. With this clarity came an inner illumination that guided her actions. Within days, a herbalist sought an apprentice. Within weeks, she had learned traditional healing techniques. Within months, she had started her own practice. Her clarity had sliced through the confusion like a lantern's brightness through the dark. When you spread your energy across too many options, you reduce your ability to attract. However, when you focus your intention like a well-crafted lantern, the universe conspires to illuminate your path. Let your desires be specific. Your vision is keen. The law of attraction responds to clarity with accuracy, connecting your concentration with appropriate opportunity. An ancient practice. Take a blank sheet of paper and write one distinct vision, not a list of desires, but a single firm intention. Place this paper somewhere you'll see it every morning and evening. Read it aloud every day, allowing the truth to illuminate your way like a guiding torch. Your clarity transforms into the light that burns away. The shroud of doubt reveals the path forward. Chapter 19. Destinies. Dance. In the calm highlands of a distant continent, a craftsman named Gertrude dedicated herself to making exquisite wooden sculptures. Each morning, she would methodically design every cut and contour, imposing her vision on the wood with unwavering resolve. Despite her expertise, her creations lacked the vitality she sought. One morning, as she prepared to begin her work, an ancient woodcarver strolled by her workshop and noticed her tense hold on her tools. He paused. "The wood has already determined what it wants to become." He continued softly. "Our task is not to command, but to listen and move with the natural grain." This fact vibrates throughout life. Life is not a stronghold to be conquered, but rather a participant in an everlasting dance. When you try to force your way through a situation, you generate resistance. Instead, learn to sense the natural rhythm of energy as it flows around and through you. The universe expands and contracts in patterns similar to the breathing of a tremendous being. Your responsibility is to align with the movement of these cosmic tides rather than against them. When you feel resistance, it means you need to alter your step, not push harder. Just as a dancer must be both firm and flexible, your engagement with fate involves both deliberate aim and fluid adaptation. Maintain unflinching faith in your vision, but let go of your expectations for how it should manifest. The route to your desires frequently follows unexpected rhythms. This understanding transformed Silas, a trader who had long felt that success necessitated strict control. His firm struggled until he learned to work with market cycles rather than against them. Instead of pressing his plans, He began to recognize opportunities and shifting conditions by letting go of his urge to control every event. He found that affluence has its own pace and rhythm. Within months, his company grew above his original expectations. Opportunities arose that he could never have anticipated. Partnerships came naturally, and success poured with ease, which he had never experienced before. His willingness to dance with circumstances rather than wrestle them into submission opened doors to abundance he never believed conceivable. The cosmos wants you to join this sacred dance. Your dreams are the melody, but the steps show themselves one by one. Trust that every turn, halt, and unexpected shift contributes to the overall dance of your destiny. An ancient practice. Every morning, swing lightly and quiet. Whispering, I dance with destiny. Chapter 20. The sky spreads among the towering structures of a thriving metropolis. Ellsworth ran a little bookshop, satisfied with its moderate success. Every day, he carefully managed his inventory, never ordered more books than his small shop could accommodate. His dream was constrained by the walls that surrounded him until one fateful afternoon when everything changed. A child walked into his shop, eyes widened in wonder. Where are the other books? She inquired innocently. The ones concerning stars, planets, and everything beyond. Her query cut through his self-imposed barriers like a ray of sunlight through clouds. Your potential, like the great expanse above, has no boundaries. Only in your mind do you sense limitations, drawn by the lines of previous experiences and acquired beliefs. However, these borders are as unreal as attempting to touch the horizon. It gets bigger with every stride ahead. The universe runs on the principle of unlimited possibility rather than scarcity. Every breath you take draws on an infinite quantity of air. Every star you see represents boundless space. Your ability to develop, achieve, and become follows. This is the same cosmic rule of abundance. When you look beyond your present circumstances, completely new horizons of possibilities appear. What looks to be a ceiling is actually a resting spot, a transitory platform from which to visualize greater heights. Winifred discovered this lesson while operating her small catering business. For years, she thought success meant arranging local events and private parties. However, when she saw birds soar overhead, she realized her eyesight was limited to the earth. Why not extend into food education? Why not offer unique dining experiences that blend food and storytelling? As her perspective changed upward, her business has altered. She began organizing immersive cultural events, offering international cooking workshops, and even creating a podcast about food customs from around the world. Her first dream had not been incorrect. It had merely been waiting to take off. The universe whispers this truth with each morning. There's always more to uncover, to become, to create. Your current condition is not your final destination, but rather a starting point for further expression. Twilight rituals are ancient. Look to the heavens and assert, my existence is as limitless as the sky. Part 3. The Embrace of Destiny. Chapter 21. The Crystal Path. In ancient days, there was a weaver named Madeline who wished to produce tapestries of unparalleled beauty. Every morning, she sat at her loom, plagued by the uncertainty of which thread to use first. The colors before her appeared limitless. The patterns. Endless days passed while she waited for complete insight. But her loom remained empty. One evening, as shadows extended across her workshop floor, an old mystic knocked on her door. The way exposes itself to those who move. The mystic spoke, grabbing for a single golden thread. Begin with what shines in your heart. This moment. This fact resonates through the millennia and into your present moment. The universe does not require. You can view the entire staircase before taking the first step. Instead, it whispers knowledge. Each step forward illuminates the next stage of your journey, much like a lamp lighting only the next few feet of a dark route. Your inner guidance reveals just what you need to see right now. Those who wait for total certainty often find themselves standing still as life's richest opportunities pass them by. The law of attraction reacts to faithful activity rather than perfect planning. When you have the faith to take the first step, even if you don't know where you're going, you engage forces beyond your current view. Consider how sunrise does not appear all at once, but rather gradually colors the sky with ever brighter hues. Your path follows a similar pattern, with gradual unfoldment rather than startling revelation. Every step you take in trust magnetizes the next chance. Every trusting decision opens a new door. Amos, a simple shopkeeper, exemplified this knowledge by starting with just one small shop. He concentrated entirely on satisfying every customer who came through his door, rather than nervously preparing for several places at once. He focused his energy on the current moment as he perfected each minor step. New opportunities naturally arose. A nearby shop became available, followed by a warehouse and distribution routes that he could not have anticipated. His kingdom expanded not via intricate plans, but through meticulous attention to each stage as it unfolded. You don't need to see the complete map of your fate today. The cosmos demands that you trust the path ahead of you. Like a flower, each petal opens one at a time. Your path blooms in a flawless sequence. Eliminate the urge to know everything at once. Instead, pay attention to the little nudges that guide you through each evening. Align with this timeless truth. In the peaceful minutes preceding slumber, plant these words in your mind. Each stride takes me higher. Allow this simple assertion to serve as a reminder that movement, not certainty, is what leads to progress. Trust that when you take each step of trust, the next will be revealed in divine order. Chapter 22. The Hidden Treasure. In a little community, a guy named Sylvester spent his days cataloging his shortcomings. His house felt too modest. His clothing is very plain. His dishes are too simple. Every morning, he would look at his scant possessions and feel the weight of scarcity pressing against his spirit. One day, while getting water from the village well, he came across an older woman whose eyes shone with delight. Despite her basic outfit, "What makes you glow so brightly?" he asked. "I discovered the ancient secret," she responded. "Everything I touch is gold when viewed through appreciative eyes." This insight creates an opening in your own consciousness. Abundance does not start with acquisition. It dawns with recognition. The universe's initial language is appreciation, and speaking it activates the law of multiplication. Every property you already own holds a germ of more prosperity, waiting to be reawakened by your blessing. The flow of abundance corresponds to the stream of appreciation. When you honor what currently exists in your life, you emit a frequency that attracts more to enjoy, much like a magnet gaining power with use. Your ability to receive grows with each authentic expression of gratitude. Goldie, a seamstress, used this awareness to change her circumstances. Every morning, she would reverently touch her sewing needles, thanking them for their potential to bring beauty into the world. She would trace her fingertips across the fabric with thanksgiving, seeing its potential. She thanked her plain wooden chair for helping her with her job. Her windows provide light. Her thread is strong. Within months, her modest sewing space could scarcely hold the wealth that flowed through it. Clients increased, possibilities grew, and resources came as if by magic. However, the genuine miracle was not what she received. Her awakened skill allowed her to recognize the wealth that was already present. Your current surroundings contain hidden treasures that await your discovery. Each object that serves you contains energy, which can multiply when acknowledged. The cup that includes your water, the bed that accommodates your slumber, the roof that protects your dreams. All are seeds for greater abundance. When you are endowed with conscious thankfulness, choose 3 objects within your grasp today. Touch each one with reverence and say a blessing loudly. Feel the energy of gratitude pour through your hands, awakening the dormant potential of each item. This technique was passed down through the ages. Aligns your frequency with the natural flow of abundance. Remember that whatever you bless multiplies. What you value grows through this old practice. You enter the everlasting dance of recognition and growth, changing your relationship with the richness that already surrounds you. Touch 3 objects you possess today and say a blessing aloud. Chapter 23. The Radiance Within. In a little village, a woman named Viola spent her days regretting her situation. Every morning, she would look at her tattered items and feel the weight of lack press against her spirit. I wish I had more, she would murmur into the shadows. Then I could experience happiness. One morning, as she walked through the marketplace counting her few coins, an old shopkeeper summoned her to his stall. His goods were modest clay jars containing luminous stones. These stones, he claimed, shone brightest in darkness. Viola sneered, as she didn't have any coins to spare on trinkets. Nonetheless, the seller smiled and pressed one into her palm without requesting payment. The glow comes from within, he explained, just as all genuine riches do. That night, Viola sat in her darkened room, admiring the stone's delicate radiance. As the hours went by, she observed something astonishing. The more she focused on the light, the brighter her entire room got, until she recognized the beauty in her basic furniture, the gorgeous patterns in her patched quilts, and the tender care in her mended garments. This truth has endured through the centuries. Circumstances do not provide joy. It emanates from within. When you learn to ignite your inner light, the outside world changes to match its brilliance. Your exterior reality is simply a reflection of your mental condition. Those who seek happiness through things or achievements find only transient satisfaction. Those who cultivate their inner flame, on the other hand, discover that abundance flows naturally toward their light, like a moth to a flame. Opportunities are drawn to people who radiate from inside. Herbert, a humble craftsman, exemplified this insight, while others moaned about a lack of customers. He sang while he worked, allowing joy to permeate every piece he created. Soon, news spread about the happiness infused in his creations. People described his creations as having a particular quality, a hint of light that enlivened their homes. His success sprang not from outward changes, but from the radiance he kept within. Your inner state is the lamp that illuminates your way. When you treat your delight as a valuable possession, life conspires to increase your happiness. The cosmos responds not to your words or actions, but to the light you emit. Begin today. Stand in front of your mirror. Smile at yourself, whispering, "My light directs my destiny." Let this practice serve as an anchor for the truth that your inner brilliance influences your external surroundings. Chapter 24, The Sacred Exchange. In a remote mountain village, a woman named Beulah lived, spending her days cataloging her shortcomings. Every morning, she would look at her bare shelves and faded clothing, regretting the blessings that seemed to befall everyone but her. Though she worked hard in her modest shop, prosperity seemed to flow around her like a brook diverted by a stone. One day, a traveling monk stopped by her business. Despite her own apparent lack, she was inspired to hand him her last loaf of bread. The monk grinned, breaking the loaf in two and returning it to her. He described the universe as an endless loop of giving and receiving. When we are excessively attached to what we have, we restrict the channel through which abundance flows. You must realize this eternal reality. Giving is not a loss. Rather, it is the key that unlocks the gates of receiving, much like breathing. Life requires both intake and outflow. When you hold your breath, you build tension. When you let it go, your body naturally takes in fresh air. The law of circulation regulates every facet of existence. Money, love, joy. To return, this energy must first flow outward. Multiplied. We grow wealthy through the divine dance of circulation rather than by hoarding. Each act of giving leaves a vacuum that the cosmos hurries to fill. This truth manifests itself in nature. The tree freely distributes its fruit in exchange for sunlight, water, and nutrition. The ocean releases its waters into the sky, where they return as rain. Nothing in nature holds or hoards, and hence abundance flows indefinitely. Later, in a distant city, a trader named Ira came across this principle in his personal life. Though his firm failed, he began donating small amounts of his earnings to individuals in need. He openly shared expertise with competitors, smiled at strangers, and offered support without expecting anything in return. Soon, unforeseen opportunities arose, new alliances developed, and his generosity returned, multiplied. You too wield this power whenever you give, whether it's a smile, a kind word, or material assistance. You create a channel through which the universe can pour its blessings. The key lies not in the size of the present, but in the spirit with which it is given. When you offer from love, without expecting anything in return, you align with the natural flow of abundance. An ancient practice. Choose one act of generosity today. It could be a tiny present, a genuine compliment, or some of your time. Give generously without expecting anything in return. Experience the satisfaction of releasing rather than receiving. This simple gesture creates an endless conduit of circulation, allowing abundance to flow freely into your life. The scene ended smoothly with the practice according to the instructions without introducing additional parts or foreshadowing. Chapter 25, The Open Gate. Rosalie was in the center of a historic city, facing yet another closed door. Each morning, she roamed the cobblestone streets, looking for chances that seemed out of reach. All paths are barred, she mumbled to herself, shoulders drooping with resignation. One stormy afternoon, she came upon an older woman tending roses in a secluded yard. The rusty gate stood invitingly open. "Why don't you latch your gate?" Rosalie asked. The woman's eyes glittered. "That which remains open receives. Consider how these roses turn their faces to greet the sun. They never wonder if light will arrive. They merely stay open to receive it. The ultimate truth is now before you. Openness creates opportunities. The cosmos responds not to your actions, but to your level of receptivity. When you assume doors are sealed, you morph into a closed gate, inadvertently denying the very benefits that seek admission. Your expectations shape the fabric of your experience. Each time you pronounce something impossible, you add another bar to your own door. However, when you retain a constant expectation of good, you create an energizing opening through which opportunity must flow like water. Abundance naturally flows toward openness. It takes the path of least resistance, effortlessly gliding towards people who are ready to accept. Your objective is not to force doors open, but to remain in a state of calm anticipation, knowing that the correct paths must appear in a distant town. Chester faced this reality after years of romantic disappointment. He changed his perspective from perceiving love as scarce to seeing it as constant, present, and accessible. Rather than hiding his heart behind walls of past pain, he opted to be open, expecting joy to find him. Within months, love entered through his open door most unexpectedly. Proving that availability precedes arrival, you can generate opportunities through expectation. When you break the habit of seeing barriers and accept the fact of endless possibilities, life responds with appropriate opportunities. Your openness becomes an invitation that the cosmos cannot refuse. An ancient practice. Stand silently, eyes closed. Consider an unending gate in your route, swinging wide open as you confidently pass through. Feel confident that the routes essential for your ultimate good are currently opening in front of you. Chapter 26, The Eternal Flame. Cornelius, a potter from a poor town, spent his days molding clay with shaky hands. Each vessel he made appeared to mock his weakness, as they frequently fractured or collapsed despite his gentlest touch. His heart grew heavy with the weight of constant failure until one morning, when an elderly master potter came into his workshop. Before responding, the old craftsman silently observed Cornelius at work. He explained that the clay does not succumb to force, but instead to the quiet strength of persistence. He directed Cornelius with his hands, demonstrating each attempt, including those that failed. He developed a stronger affinity for the craft. Your perceived vulnerability. The instructor stated that it is just the place in which strength is born. The cosmos is now speaking the same truth to you. What looks to be weakness is frequently the chrysalis of power, waiting to emerge with patience and tenacity. Each time you choose to persist in the face of uncertainty, you contribute another thread to the tapestry of your destiny. The law of attraction responds not to brief spurts of effort, but to a consistent pulse of steadfast devotion. Your dreams gain shape via long-term dedication, just as water molds stone by faithful presence rather than force. When you apply your energy regularly, it acts like a beacon, drawing your desires closer to you. The cosmos reflects not the intensity of your passion, but the strength of your belief. Consider Opal, who started each morning with 3 lines of thanks. Her words were initially empty, and her dreams seemed distant. Nevertheless, she persisted day after day until thankfulness became her default state. Her appreciation grew, and so did the richness of her existence. Her tiny business, which had been struggling earlier, began to thrive. Her formerly tense connections grew stronger, not because she demanded change, but because she showed gentle, steadfast admiration. The power you desire is already within you. It grows not via grand gestures, but through calm perseverance. Each time you choose to persevere in the face of uncertainty or tiredness, you strengthen the signal that propels your destiny ahead. The cosmos reacts to this resilience with greater force, transforming persistent drops into a flowing river of manifestation practice. Please light a candle or visualize one, stating that my flame will never die. Chapter 27. The Harmony Web. Milton, a weaver from a distant mountain village, sat at his loom, his threads twisted and knotted even though his hands worked efficiently after years of practice. His heart felt dispersed and alienated from the work at hand. Each morning, he would try to make beautiful tapestries. Still, his inner fragmentation was evident in his work patterns, misaligned colors, clashing threads, and inconsistencies. The universe speaks in whispers of wisdom, and truth arrives when the soul is ready to hear it. One morning, as sunshine rushed through his window, Milton observed a spider's web gleaming with gold. Each droplet reflected all other drops, resulting in an infinite mirror of connectedness. In that moment, clarity came. All of existence functions as a single interwoven fabric. This truth is at the heart of manifestational power. When you acknowledge your unity with all that is, your potential to attract and create multiplies 1,000-fold. Each idea causes waves in the cosmic web. Each intention transmits vibrations throughout the limitless tapestry of existence. Your perceived separation is only an illusion. You have always been united with the wellspring of all creation. Every soul is like a thread in a vast cosmic loom, weaving into the pattern of existence. Your dreams, aspirations, and intentions do not exist in isolation. Instead, they flow via the universal awareness that connects everything. When you unite with this unity, the cosmos becomes full. Power pours through you freely. In a nearby village, there lived Estelle who bore profound wounds from years of family struggle. She, too, found the old reality of connection rather than viewing others as separate beings to struggle with. She began to see them as extensions of a single cosmic awareness. With this shift in perception, formerly solid conflicts began to disintegrate where she once recognized opponents. She now recognized other portions of herself doing their roles in the cosmic dance by embracing unified consciousness. Your magnetic power increases dramatically. You no longer attract as a single point, but rather as part of an infinite field of possibilities. Your manifestations will flow more easily now that you've removed the illusion of separation between you and your aspirations. The sacred practice, which has been passed down through the ages, invites you to experience this reality personally. Sit silently and imagine golden threads of light stretching from your heart to every person, place, and thing that exists. Consider yourself a member of this bright network, inseparable from the whole. Understand that your every thought travels along these strands, affecting all of creation. In this level of united awareness, speak your intentions into the cosmic web, knowing that they will resonate across the entire fabric of existence. This exercise allows you to realize your full power as a conscious creator, aligned with the one force that moves through everything. Your manifestations no longer strain against the torrent of separation, but rather flow effortlessly with the river of unity that has always taken you home. Chapter 28. Beyond the Veil. Cornelius looked out of her window in a small valley town every morning, wondering if she was alone on her journey. Despite her best efforts, success appeared to elude her. She longed for a sign, physical proof that bigger forces were behind her voyage. What you want to understand is beyond your bodily sight. Mortal eyes cannot see the most powerful energies in existence, such as love, faith, and destiny. However, these invisible currents shape every moment of your existence, weaving patterns beyond human perception to comprehend. The universe mainly functions in the invisible domain. Before a flower blooms, unseen energy runs through its stem before rainfall. Before a dream may form in the physical world, invisible vapor collects in clouds. It first manifests in the formless dimension of pure potential. Your ability to create is dependent on your desire to believe in what you cannot see yet. When you connect with the invisible powers of creation, you tap into the same force that transforms seeds into forests and thoughts into objects. This fact goes beyond human intellect. It must be embraced with faith. Lloyd, a craftsman from the Western Hills, acquired this truth after undergoing miraculous healing. For years, persistent discomfort had restricted his capacity to work. Doctors provided no solutions. However, something deep within him prompted him to believe in forces beyond his physical sight. Every morning, he acknowledged the invisible healing energy that flowed through his body. Though he couldn't explain how his discomfort gradually subsided until he could move freely, the invisible realm reacted to your faith in it. When you believe in the unseen forces that support you, you unleash their power in your life. Your faith serves as a bridge between the visible and invisible realms, allowing manifestation to move easily between them. Consider the air you breathe, which is invisible. It sustains your own existence. The same is true for the spiritual forces that shape your destiny. You do not have to see them to benefit from their ongoing help. Your responsibility is to trust their presence and allow them to act on your behalf. As you accept this reality, let go of the need for visible proof to believe. The greatest miracles frequently begin in perfect invisibility, revealing themselves only when faith has cleared the path. Your belief in the unseen becomes the driving force that makes the invisible visible. This ancient ritual opens a portal between worlds. Close your eyes and confirm the unseen. It works to my benefit. Allow these words to soak deeply into your consciousness, activating your connection with the invisible forces that shape all reality. This simple act of trust aligns you with powers beyond our comprehension. Chapter 29, Heaven on Earth. Adelaide knelt in her garden at daybreak, wishing for a distant paradise and missing the precious ground beneath her feet. For years, she had put all her hope in some future reward, blind to divine whispers. With each passing moment, the truth blooms like a flower in the early sun. Heaven is not a distant realm, but rather a condition of alignment that can be experienced with each breath. When you bring your awareness to the present moment, you open the door to the eternal happiness that has continuously resided inside you. The cosmos conspires to reveal its majesty through everyday events in your life. Each sunset paints the sky and represents a celebration of the present. Every raindrop conveys messages of regeneration. Children's laughing reflects the music of the heavenly regions. These aren't just lyrical metaphors. They're genuine doors to sublime bliss in your everyday life. Your bodily senses were created to appreciate these truths. When you actually see a flower, taste fresh water, or experience a pleasant breeze, you take part in the endless dance of creation. These basic pleasures are not inferior counterparts of a future paradise. They are paradise itself, manifested through form. Rufus realized this truth while doing dishes one evening, as water splashed on his hands. He immediately saw the divine in this everyday deed. Instead of rushing through the chore, he focused on the rainbow prisms and soap bubbles. Feel grateful for the abundance of clean water and enjoy the simple pleasure of establishing order. This transformation in consciousness altered not only his chores, but his entire household. His children began to reflect his regard for the present moment, and harmony naturally grew in their home. The trick is to recognize that divinity expresses itself through everything, all the time. When you break the pattern of postponing joy, you will realize that what you seek has always been present. Your awareness serves as the link between heaven and earth, between the eternal and the present. This reality frees you from the never-ending quest for future fulfillment. You do not have to wait for ideal circumstances to find peace. You do not have to postpone enjoyment till some imagined tomorrow. The door to transcendent bliss is open right now, inviting you to enter this sacred practice, which unites you with the present moment's divinity. Pause in your regular tasks and say these words with complete presence. Heaven is here and now in me. Allow this truth to sink into your bones, awakening you to the paradise that has always been present, waiting to be identified through your conscious consciousness. Chapter 30. The Crown of Alignment. Matilda, a merchant, spent her days seeking affirmation from people, believing that her worth was determined by their acceptance. Every morning, she stood in front of her shop, watching passers-by pass by and hoping to be recognized. Despite selling the best silks and spices on the market, something inside her remained unfulfilled. One morning, while she was preparing her things, an older woman in plain robes approached, rather than inspecting the merchandise. The woman looked directly into Matilda's eyes. "Why bow your head when you are so noble within?" she asked. Matilda said, "I am just a simple merchant. Look at the sun." The woman spoke. "Does it beg for permission to shine? Does the oak tree seek permission to grow tall? Your divine essence does not require any external validation." Matilda realized a significant reality after hearing these remarks. Sovereignty emerges from harmony with one's inner light, rather than being recognized by others, as if a curtain is lifted. She realized that seeking approval had merely masked her natural beauty. Your actual power does not come from achievement or recognition. It is your birthright, etched into the very fabric of who you are. When you agree with this reality, the universe conspires to highlight your innate majesty. Each soul possesses a divine spark, a regal spirit that does not require affirmation to shine. The outer environment reflects what you claim within. When you assert your sovereignty, life responds to fit this higher frequency. Your crown was fitted long ago. Your only responsibility is to remember that it lies on your head. This insight was plainly revealed via Norris, a modest gardener who tended the grounds of a large estate. For years, he believed that his position defined his worth, until he saw the value in nourishing life itself. As he accepted this fact, his presence gained such dignity that people automatically looked to him for guidance. Norris modified his approach to work without altering his vocation. He no longer considered himself only a gardener, but as a steward of development, a protector of beauty. This shift in consciousness improved not just his personal experience, but also encouraged people around him to recognize their own inherent worth. Your journey does not have to be one of becoming, but of discovering what already resides within, like a diamond concealed in stone. Your beauty merely waits to be recognized in every moment. You can choose to deny your brilliance or to embrace your heavenly heritage. An ancient practice. Place your hand on your head to affirm, "I wear the crown of alignment." The path has taught you that destiny is never accidental, but always linked with the energy you cultivate. Through each chapter, each lesson, and each spiritual practice, you've observed the endless dance of consciousness and creation. Every anecdote you gave reflected the universal truth that permeated your own life experience. You've seen how ideas transform into electrical currents, summoning corresponding experiences, how gratitude opens up hitherto hidden pathways of fortune, and how trust powers the engine of alignment. These were not simple thoughts to consider, but live keys bestowed upon you by the wisdom of ages. The universe responds not to what you wish, hope, or crave for, but to the energy you exude when you achieve wholeness. When you breathe gratitude before proof comes, and you trust despite appearances, reality has no choice but to reflect your exalted mood. This is the law, as certain as gravity. Your existence here was not an accident. You were lured by an unseen thread of divine timing. You were guided to these teachings just when your soul was ready to receive them. You now understand. Destiny does not involve waiting for anything to happen to you. It is about connecting with what is already present within you. Everything you seek, including riches, love, purpose, and tranquility, is inherent in your nature. These traits are not distant treasures to be sought, but birthrights that can be claimed via alignment. As you align with this truth, seemingly locked doors disappear before you. The cosmos has always, is, and will continue to orchestrate in your favor. Even times that appeared to be failures were actually preparing you for greater progress. Walk forth, crowned with the knowledge that your alignment is your strength, and that it allows you to command the forces of creation. If you enjoyed this unique audiobook, I have handpicked the next book that will alter your life.